Hi, my name is Michelle Hanks and I am part of Life on 12 Wheels. I wanted to give you guys a small update as to why we are doing this. Why are you going out with a teenager during her senior year? I cover that. The second one is, why the purple hair, Michelle? I'm going to cover that. And the third one is, do you have an exit strategy for what you're planning to do? I'm going to cover that. I do have a video that I posted in the very beginning, and it kind of explained why we were starting to purge everything. We're going to sell our sticks and bricks and then go out in an RV full time. I've had some questions about that over the last 3 months, and I wanted to do all of these in an FAQ video, frequently asked questions, and touch on some of that. So a little backstory on us. We were truck drivers. We were team truck drivers for 5.5 years, and we paid off a lot of debt during that time because we were always gone. We didn't have a child yet, and we were able to see the country and, be together 24 hours a day, talk about a whole bunch of date nights. And then what we did was we chose to adopt. So we ended up adopting our daughter in 2004. When my daughter was right around 4 years old, I thought, I really wish that we could spend time together. And I had kept my CDL license. I had kept it current. So I started researching, and I found a company that would allow us to drive together as a team and have our child on the truck full time. So my daughter was almost 6 years old. We went out on the road as a family and drove truck. And I drove in the evenings, my husband drove during the day, and our daughter, from the age of almost 6 years old to 10 and a half, she was on the truck with us. So we homeschooled her, and our daughter got to see all of the states except North Dakota and Vermont. So it's pretty cool because we were homeschooling and getting, I guess back then, it's a popular word now to say road schooling, but back then, prior to Instagram, nobody really had ever said that out loud to us, but that's what we were doing. We were road schooling. So while I was driving in the evenings, I would talk to Olivia. We would she would learn how to read by reading things and sounding things out. She has beautiful penmanship, and part of that is astonishing because she was learning how to write in her lap in a semi, right? Bumping down the road. So another cool thing about that was we got to spend so much time together and just be this perfect little family, I thought. Now, there were some tough times because being in a truck with two large dogs, we have two Australian Labradoodles that are 60 pounds each, and we were kind of like, we always stopped for them and spent time in rest areas in order to walk the dogs. But it was like a pressure cooker in that truck. We struggled with getting along. I'll just say that. And it was not a very good situation for our daughter to be in. She saw us argue quite a bit, and that wasn't very good. Yeah, it wasn't good. I don't believe in not arguing in front of your children because they need to see you solve problems and see you compromise. But it wasn't good long term for her to always be in the middle of it. When she was 10 and a half, we stopped doing that as a family, and she and I have been staying at home in our city while my husband still drives truck. He hauls sand for oil wells in Texas, and he is gone now like 6 weeks at a time. And we're going on 5 years of that. The problem is we have a teenager, and he's missing out on so much of her growing up. And it's difficult when he comes home every 6 weeks because he kind of walks right into what we've already been doing, right? So she and I are so used to our little rhythm, and he comes in and it causes a little bit of disruption, and we love him dearly, but it takes us 24 hours every time to kind of get that groove back going, show respect towards each other and all that stuff. So I started just thinking, we're missing out on a whole lot as she goes into adulthood. And I value my husband a great deal, and I really wanted him to have more of an impact on our daughter's life. So I started trying to figure out a way, can we do that? How can we do that? Because I didn't want him necessarily driving in our local area because it's very stressful to drive in a large metroplex in a semi. And on a daily basis, that's just not a happy place to be as a family. If you know anybody, comment below. It's just not a good thing. So we just decided that, or I decided, I'll just be honest, I decided, because I'm restless, I want to start just, again, enjoying adventuring, enjoying new places. I love to travel. I have since I was a kid. And I miss being a truck driver, actually. I miss the problem solving that you had to do. You were given a load, you were given directions, you were given places that you had to fuel because the company had those things already determined for you. But getting from point A to point B was up to you. And you had to be safe, you had to abide by the laws, and you had to then also do your laundry. You still had a family that you were providing for and taking care of, and teaching and all those things. I mean, it was so much, but I loved it. I loved it. When I started doing the research on this, I was like, wow, there's a huge community out here that are doing this now. And this is a thing. This is a thing. It's not just for retirees. This started 3 months ago, right at the beginning of August. And by August 23rd, I was like, we're doing this. We're going to start paying all our debt down, and we are going out on the road. Well, when are we going to be able to do that? It's going to take us a while to pay our debt down. I'm going to post right up here a link to our most recent summary, the November summary of our finances, because I'm tracking every month on how much money we're paying down and what debt we're paying off. We've paid off almost a little over $4,100 in debt. We still have a long way to go. We also have to come up with money to buy a trailer, money to buy a truck, and we have to sell our house. We have to purge from 2,700 square feet down to, 425 square feet. We have to figure out what we're going to do for jobs. All these things, right? There's still so much that has to be done, but I am so thrilled and so excited to be able to put our family back together 24 hours a day because we enjoyed it. Ultimately, it was more positive on our family than it was negative. And we've worked through, my husband and I, we've been married over 25 years, and our marriage is better now than it was the very first year we were ever married. And we have a stronger connection. We have a reliance on God that we didn't have before. And we're ready. We are so ready for this adventure. I see so many people talking about that they want to do this for the freedom, right? They want to travel and be free. We're doing this during my daughter's senior year in high school because we want to prepare her for adulthood as a combined unit. We want mom and dad to be with her 24 hours a day to help her, guide her, teach her, train her, share experiences with her so that she is better prepared to launch out into the life that God has for her. We hope that she'll be able to decide what she wants to do for a career. She's 15, and right now, many kids at 15 know, but she doesn't know. She's kind of leaning towards park ranger. Part of that's because I've pushed that idea that matches her personality. But while we're out on the road, we're going to go to whatever national park she chooses and let her apply and either intern or work. I'm not sure how that will work, but we'll spend time in that environment so she can determine if that's really what she even wants to do. Why not do that instead of wasting money on a degree that she maybe doesn't want? Right now, we've planned to spend 2 years together, her senior year and the year afterwards. And we will let her figure out what she wants to do with our guidance, and we will support her and launch her from that, right? Now, this may not seem normal. You may not have heard any other people talk about, well, we're going to go RVing full time because we want to help prepare our teenage daughter to launch into adulthood. I have not heard anybody else say that at all. No, many people that I've seen are RVing full time with their toddlers all the way up into maybe 2nd and 3rd grade. And most commonly, I hear that they're doing it to let their family spend time together. And maybe it's because after they started having children, they realized that everybody's running the rat race and they never got to spend time together. Well, we did that, right? We already have spent 24 hours a day with each other, and we realized we loved it. Like, we totally loved it. So we want to do that before she leaves. She is our only child, and we're going to be empty nesters here in about 4 years. That's a whole nother video. A lot of tears have already been shed over that, and she's only 15. From me, my husband. If he cries, he don't tell me. But I just want you to hear a different reason as to why people are choosing to go full time. Ours is because we want to help launch our teenage daughter into adulthood. We want to spend time with her. We want to help her make great decisions on who she spends the rest of her life with. So that's the number one question. A very long-winded number one question that we get is, why are you going to go do this? The second most common question is, why the purple hair, Michelle? What's that about? 2019, I've had purple hair for 3 years, and I want to tell you a little backstory, very short little backstory. A friend of mine suggested that I do Periscope. Do you remember Periscope? That was like before Facebook Live, before Instagram, before Insta Stories. And they said, you should do Periscope videos. And I'm like, I'm not going to talk to a camera like I'm doing now. I was so self-conscious and so insecure. At the time, I was sick as well. And so my face was swollen. It was bad. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And a couple months went by, and I thought, why not, Michelle? Doesn't matter if anybody watches it. Don't worry about it. So I thought, well, I'll go through a book and talk every single day about the chapters in the book, and it'll give me something to share. And so actually I ended up doing it on Facebook, and I did a video every day for the month of May 2016. And through that self-awareness and through that confidence boosting and getting out of my box and getting rid of self-limitations and telling myself I couldn't do stuff and just busting through that, I said, you know what? I think I'll dye my hair. I've been dyeing my hair red for 20 years. What's the difference, red and purple? Well, it was pretty bold and it was pretty different. Mine's a little bit different. I do have brown underneath. I don't have a full head of purple hair, but now this is me. I go through a variety of purple, a variety of different tones of purple. Through my videos, I'll look a little different. Sometimes it'll be darker. Sometimes it'll be lighter, longer, shorter. But the point is, I did it to push myself out of my own comfort zone, and I have become who this person is. It represents me more than I have any of the previous hairstyles I've ever had. And so I encourage you to bust out, maybe not dye your hair a certain color, but do something that you've always said to yourself you couldn't do, and see what you're made of, because you'll be surprised what you're made of. You will be surprised at what you're capable of doing once you just push. And you'll see through the years, you'll come to know I like to push people. Not always in a good way. Sometimes my husband says I'm a little bit too pushy. All right. The third most frequently asked question is, what are you going to do afterwards? Don't you need an exit strategy? Well, no, because when we bought this house, we didn't have an exit strategy. When we started truck driving in 1998, we didn't have an exit strategy. I don't really think you have to have an exit strategy just because you're selling an asset and purchasing something that's going to depreciate. That really freaks people out. They just don't like it. They don't want you to go from asset to just depreciation. What asset? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about though, right? You're not investing your money in a piece of property. You're investing your money in something that is going to depreciate from day one. Are you really doing a smart adult decision? I don't think that we have to. We didn't go into parenthood with an exit strategy. We have Dogs, we never once considered what are we going to do when they die, when we went to purchase them or, get them I grew up and it was called the pound. When you go and get a dog, you don't do that, right? When you buy a vehicle, you don't do that. So why do I have to have an exit strategy? I don't think that you do. And if you have had anybody say that to you, I give you permission to not have an exit strategy. You don't have to have one. Yeah. Okay. So those are the 3 frequently asked questions. I appreciate you for sitting and listening to this video. I hope that it helps to clarify some things about our family, and I hope it inspires you. One of the main goals of this channel for me is to inspire others. I think a lot of times if we see someone else going through something that we're thinking about, it almost feels like they give us permission. Right? So I'm giving you permission to do something you've never done before. I'm giving you permission to change your life. I'm giving you permission to do stuff that none of your family will understand. It'll be okay, right? I have a sign over here that says, if it's hard, it's okay. Keep going. Because just because something's hard doesn't mean you should avoid it. I'm just saying, right? We are doing monthly car coffee chats, my husband and I, where we go to get coffee and we talk in the car. And we will be doing those once a month to discuss what are the things up for discussion this month. So I'm going to post at the end of this video the 2 most recent car coffee chats. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.